Be speaking to you all today. This is a critical moment for climate action in Australia, and there's a huge opportunity here for Commbank to become a climate leader. So, for those of you unfamiliar with Commbank, Commbank used to be the biggest lender to fossil fuels among the big four in Australia. In the 5 years following the Paris Agreement, so between 2016 and 2020, Commbank loaned over $14 billion to the fossil fuel industry. Over $3 billion of that went to new and expanded fossil fuel projects. And over their lifetime, those new and expanded fossil fuel projects would produce almost 6 billion tonnes of CO2 emissions, equivalent to 12 times Australia's annual emissions. But in the last 2 years, Commbank has flipped it around. In the last 2 years, they have loaned the least to fossil fuels of the big four. In 2022, they were down to $267 million, which is a 92% decrease from an all-time high in 2018, and that is because of public pressure. That is because of people power. Community pressure is working on the banks and is changing their behaviour for the best, and you have yourselves to thank for that. And it's not just Commbank, as I'm sure many of you here know. Earlier this week, Whitehaven Coal announced that they were unable to renew their debt facility from a large international syndicate which included NAB and Westpac. That loan has been campaigned on for years, and now Whitehaven Coal no longer enjoys the financial backing of any of the big four Australian banks because of people power. So, Commbank have been campaigned on for years by its customers, by its shareholders, by the community, even now some of its staff, with the financial sector union jumping on this joint statement for this very campaign, calling on Commbank to do better. We've gained a critical mass now, and we're putting a huge amount of pressure on Commbank, and it's brilliant to see. They've had shareholder resolutions lodged at their annual general meetings from shareholders demanding better climate disclosure, better climate practice, and ultimately to rule out all finance for new and expanded fossil fuels, which is the biggest threat to a safe climate. So off the back of that, we've seen Commbank make some legitimately positive strides in the last few years, but there's still a way for them to go to become a genuine climate leader, and this policy update is the best opportunity for that to happen. So, what can Commbank do to become a climate leader? Well, their current policy only rules out direct project finance for some new fossil fuel projects, not all. Thermal coal mines out, coal-fired power stations out, new oil and gas projects, leave it open. And they definitely don't rule out corporate finance to companies developing these new oil and gas projects, coal, oil and gas projects. And that is a massive problem because since 2016, 70% of the finance that Commbank has given to the fossil fuel industry was corporate finance. And they have no policy to rule out corporate finance flowing to these fossil fuel expanding companies. So if Commbank wouldn't fund a new coal mine, and they wouldn't fund a new oil or gas field, why should they fund the company that's building them? Corporate finance is the primary financial vehicle enabling fossil fuel expansion on a global scale, and it needs to stop. And it can start with Commbank in August. Commbank is still providing finance to these climate-wrecking companies, Glencore, new coal mines, Beach Energy, new gas projects. We've mentioned Santos. Santos is a company that has no intention of transitioning from fossil fuels. They have made that abundantly clear. They see gas as the solution to climate change, not the cause of it. They have 5 new oil and gas projects in their pipeline. That will result in over 1 billion tonnes of CO2 into the atmosphere that we simply can't afford at this stage. And Commbank can't continue to finance companies like these.
Hear, hear.
And that's why in August, we're calling on Commbank to become a genuine climate leader and rule out all types of finance for new and expanded fossil fuel projects, including the companies developing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that we're asking for here is that Commbank actually acts in line with its climate commitments. Commbank is committed to the goals of the Paris Agreement and limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees. Commbank is committed to net zero emissions by 2050. And the science is clear. If that's to happen, there's no room for any new or expanded fossil fuels. Even the amount of committed fossil fuel reserves in the world would already push us past the 1.5 degree threshold. So Commbank could be the first company for the big four Aussie banks to actually live up to its climate commitments with this policy update. And it's a huge opportunity. And I hope that we're all here to really make sure they're feeling the public pressure right now because they need to. This is a massive chance and we can't let it slip. A A growing number of international banks around the world are already implementing these policies to cut off finance to new and expanded fossil fuels, and Commbank will join that growing body of international peers and take a huge step forward for the Australian economy. CBA can be a climate leader, CBA should be a climate leader, and they must be a climate leader.
Yes.
Commbank's customers, shareholders, the community at large, Commbank staff, everyone is banging on Commbank to become a genuine climate leader. So in August, Commbank rule out all finance for new and expanded fossil fuels. We will